Hi, hello, this is Esther Marina. I am a Puerto Rican writer aspiring to be a hybrid author, and today I have an announcement that could be a little controversial. If you can peek at the books that I have here, you have an idea what I'm gonna talk about. I did write some notes because I wanted to make sure that everything that I wanted to say is said on the video, because talking about the Harry Potter books, it can be controversial for many things, including the author. Well, the author is problematic. They're not controversial. They are straight up problematic. There's that. But what I'm about to explain, that's gonna be the controversial thing. So, as you have seen in the title of the video and the thumbnail, I am in the millennial generation. Like, I'm smack in the middle of it. And I did not read any of the books when they were coming out. I am one of those few millennials who weren't in the Harry Potter craze when it happened. Let me start with a disclaimer. And I'm gonna read it. This is not a promotion to the author nor the series. They don't need it. Please refrain from commenting the author's name. Again, they don't need the promotion, and I don't need their names to be in anything that feeds the algorithm or the SEOs, things like that. And I will link a lot or a couple, depending, because I have to vet them. Great places that help the communities she has harmed. So they're gonna be in the description box on every video related to this series, to this book, including this video. So that's the disclaimer. I'm gonna talk about the books. I'm not gonna talk about her. And I'm not gonna mention her. She doesn't need the promotion. They don't need the promotion. Okay, so you maybe ask yourself, why am I reading the books now? Like, if I didn't read them in the craze of it all, why am I reading them now? Why now? And also why I'm making videos about this. So I had to wait until I couldn't remember the movies. So I watched the movies because pretty much half of my friends at that time in middle school and high school were like, their personalities were the books. And there were walking audiobooks of those. And around that time, there were some movies, including the Lord of the Rings movies, that were coming out around the same kind of like year. So we did kind of like exchange. I will go with them to watch the Harry Potter movies, and they will go with me to watch the Lord of the Rings movies and the other movies that they are not interested, even though it's the same thing as fantasy. I digress. So we did that exchange. So that's how I watch the movies. But it's been I will say more than 5 years since I saw those movies, and I barely remember them. So I was like, okay, this might be a good time to read them because I won't have a lot of the image from the movies in my head while I read them. That's one of the reasons. The second reason, I promised years ago to some of my friends that I will read them. They hope I will change my mind on some things about the books and the story. I don't think I will change my mind, but I will document that. And again, like the title says, one of those rare millennials that did not read the books as they were coming out. I was already a reader, and I was already a paranormal fantasy reader. So this series did not bring me back to reading. I was already a reader. They did not introduce me to fantasy or paranormal. I was already reading those kind of books. So this series, the appearance of this series in the publishing business did nothing for me. I was already in it. So it did not add anything to my teenage years. Like, they weren't the first witches that I was reading about. They weren't the first books about magic that I was reading about, or adventure, or it was not my first of anything. I was already there in those realms. I also hope that these types of videos, especially this one, kind of like reassures or affirms the people that have not read the books and don't have any intentions of reading the books, to like let them know it's fine. It's 100% fine. You did not miss anything. People will nag at you, telling you that you missed this and that, and I'm like, my childhood and my teenage years did not lack anything. They weren't less important, they weren't less exciting because I did not read those books at that time. It wasn't. I was just reading and watching other things that were super exciting too, because there were paranormal and fantasy things too. It was just already in my radar. That's the thing. So don't feel bad if you never read them, and if you are never gonna read them, don't feel bad about that. And don't let people make you feel bad about that. You really didn't miss anything. Letting you know, I'm over 30 years old, and my childhood and my teenage years did not lack anything at all. So there's that. I will have some caveats, and this will irk a lot of readers in general. So it is true that I have not read the entire series, but I remember reading the third book after the movie was out, because somehow a paperback landed at my home, and a hurricane was coming by. I don't remember which hurricane was, and we lost power, so I didn't have anything to do. Someone was like, here, this is a book, read it. And I read it because I saw the previous movies, and because my friends were pretty much walking audiobooks of those books. I could jump into the third book without being confused at all. Like, at all. I got in everything. And it was an okay book. I mean, I don't feel that the movie lacked anything compared to the book. So there's that. And then the other caveat, and this is really gonna irk a lot of people, the later half of the last book of book 7, I read that because when I left the movie theater watching the first part of Deathly Hallows, I was mad. Like, they invited those movies to cash in on the fans. And I was very mad about that. So I'm like, I am not gonna wait a year to get answers. So I think at that time I was able to, I found a copy. I don't own that copy. Someone lent it to me, I think. And I skimmed through until I reached the part where the movie ended, and then I read all the way to the end, got my answers, and then it was done. And I almost forgot the second part was out until someone reminded me, because again, I got my answers, I'm done. Again, I don't have any emotional association with this series, so I can do whatever I want. And also, the reason that I got this specific copies, this paperback copies, is because when you line them up, the spine creates the Hogwarts castle. And I was like, ooh, that's super pretty for displaying. So I own these copies only because they are pretty to display. That's it. I mean, they're coming in handy now that I can read them, but there's that. So let me stop rambling and giving you so many like disclaimers and explanations, and it's just when you start a reading experiment, challenge, whatever thing this is, about a well-known series, and you're from the generation that pretty much their part of their personality is this series, but you didn't ascribe to it, sadly you do have to like say a lot of things and make a lot of disclaimers and a lot of explanations. So now on to what I'm exactly gonna do. So I am going to read one book per month, except the months where NaNoWriMo events happen. So Camp happens on April and July, so I'm not gonna be reading any of those books on any of those months, and I should be done with them before NaNoWriMo starts in November. So that's one thing. I will be recording throughout the reading experience, and that reading blog will come out at the end of each month. And just to let you know, so book 1 is gonna be in January, book 2 is gonna be in February, book 3 is gonna be in March, book 4 is gonna be in May, book 5 is gonna be in June, book 6 is gonna be in August, and the last book, book 7, is gonna be in September. So that's the order of reading in the months towards the end, where the reading blogs will come out. Also, I will try to be nice when talking about the books, because I know a lot of people have a lot of emotional attachment, and there's a lot of nostalgia embedded in those books. But do remember, I don't have the same attachment that you have, that some people have. I actually have absolutely no attachment to those books, to those characters, absolutely nothing. I will try to be mindful of that, but I ask you to remember, we're not in the same area or plate. In that vein, if there is one of these books that you absolutely love, and that any piece of critique about that book feels like a personal attack, I will highly recommend to not watch that reading blog. I'm not saying to like maybe start watching and see how am I feeling about, or let me see what her content warning is, because I probably gotta start saying if I had an enjoyable or not reading experience. I would just recommend you to steer away, because I will feel like even me saying that I did not have an enjoyable reading experience, to some people who might absolutely love one of those books will feel very deeply about just that statement. So that's my recommendation. I will rather you protect your feelings than spew them out in the comments and expose yourself to people who might not be as nice or as mindful as I'm gonna try to be throughout the reading vlogs. Let's do that. Let's steer away from the books that you absolutely love and you cannot hear any critique, anything that is not absolutely positive and heart-shaped eyes towards it. So there's that. This is gonna be an experience. Wish me luck. Don't hold your breath for me to like turn into a fan. Don't hold your breath with that. That's the announcement. That's the challenge, experiment, whatever thing it is that I'm partaking. I am going to be the millennial who finally gonna make good of her promise to her friends and read the freaking series and document myself and my feelings and my experience. And hopefully, if you're watching, you don't feel personally attacked by any of my thoughts and feelings about it. Again, please do not write the author's name on the comment section. They don't need any of the promotions, nor the author, nor the series. This is just me making a good promise and actually going with the promise, and just for funsies documenting a millennial reading Harry Potter for the first time in order and its completion. So if you somehow liked this video, I don't do many announcement videos because I don't do anything worthy of announcement, but if you like this kind of like whatever thing I'm trying to do, hit the like button. If you are interested in seeing those reading blogs, do subscribe to the channel. I also have writing blogs when I do 10K days, some sit-down videos, some goals videos, some planning videos, some tips and tricks and how-tos and all of that sort of thing. So if any of that sounds interesting, do subscribe. Welcome to this community, and I hope you have a good day, evening, afternoon, whatever your time zone it is, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.